Early in Joe's television career, much of the available video footage concentrated to a large extent upon his impressive and unique impressions. And Joe's world-class singing voice was extremely underused. It is for that reason we have often out of sequence woven into Our Joe the golden threads of Joe's own voice. Some of the recovered and reclaimed older footage is a little visually impaired, but the audio is as good as ever. So if you need to, just listen to a master of his craft entertaining you.
This is me. This is me. This is my life. I don't give a damn. Rush, rush, oh. I'm such a lover. I got to hear. Let me live. Let me live.
The national treasure that is Joe Longthorne, MBE. This is his real-life story, entitled Our Joe. Scripted, edited, directed and produced by Terry Lodge. Pre-31st of May 1955. Wherever possible, we would wish that Joe's parents, family and friends, and Joe himself should tell their story. However, some of the more delicate passages will have to be overwritten and presented. Failure to do this would only lead to a diluted and sanitized version of Our Joe, the real story. And we would have been very similar to the uninformed version presented to you by Chris Berry in Joe's autobiography. Joe's very existence was a family afterthought. Fred and Teresa Longthorne had already given life to 8 children, only 4 of which had survived, so having decided not to have any more children. Until fate intervened when once again tragedy struck. Tragically, they lost another child in extremely harrowing circumstances. Their youngest daughter, a beautiful blonde girl named Selina, was burned to death in a bedroom fire at the family home. She was only 4 years old. What caused her terrible fate? She was playing with contraband from the docks purchased by her father Fred from fishermen returning from sea. Cigarettes, tobacco and matches were hidden in her bedroom. The young child's curiosity then brought about her fate. Obviously, Selina's mum and dad were heartbroken. In fact, Teresa, not surprisingly, suffered a nervous breakdown. Fixer Fred then thought he had the answer to her breakdown. Let's have another child. So as if to take his wife's mind off the horror of losing her youngest daughter. As plans for the new baby's birth were made, it did seem to assuage Teresa's grief. Baby clothes were readied, surprisingly only in pink, and a name chosen, Joanna. The pregnant Teresa could not even countenance the birth of a boy child. She desperately wanted a replacement for beautiful Selina. Joe always said for the first 2 or 3 years of my life I was always dressed and treated as a girl. So much so that I am sure that my mum thought I was our Selina reincarnated. In the event, of course, it wasn't Joanna that was born, but a boy child was introduced to the world. And after a quick rethink, the nearest possible name to Joanna was chosen. And there are no prizes for guessing what that was.
The distant echo of a song someone knew, running round in my head. I close my eyes, trying to recall the simple words that she said. One in the summer, falling into love, we were sharing a dream, lost in time, we dreamed drifted along like the blossom in a stream. Oh, she did love me. Oh, she did care. Joanna, you were the brightest star. Joanna, part of me is where you are. We lay together all alone on the sand. I kissed the salt upon your cheek. How could I know it all would wash away like the castle on a beach? Oh, she did love me. Oh, she did care. Joanna, you were the brightest star. Joanna, part of me is where you are. Oh, Joanna, I'm trying hard not to let it go. It's over, but my heart doesn't know.
The adjustment in Teresa's mind to this event was difficult enough, but Joseph's beautiful features and blonde hair didn't help speed up that process. Within a week of Joe's birth, Teresa was back at work in the awful cold surroundings of a fish filleting factory. Her love so great that she cycled home every lunchtime to feed her new arrival. Throughout his life, Joe was to be loved to distraction by his parents. Joe was dressed in baby girl's clothes for 2 years and loved and nurtured by all, as I have suggested earlier in this story. What influence would this treatment have on Joe's sexuality in later life? Throughout his informative infant and junior school years and into secondary modern schooling, he tended always to mix more with girls or quietly spoken boys. Not for him the physical rough and tumble of the playground or sports field.
Song. It's called You're the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me, and you are. Thank you for being here tonight. I've had my share of life's ups and downs, but fate's been kind. The downs have been few, and I guess you could say that I've been lucky. Well, I guess you could say that it's all because of you. If anyone should ever write my life story, for whatever reason there might be, you'd be there between each line of pain and glory.
best thing that ever happened to me. And there have been times, so when those times were hard, but always somehow I made it through. And for every moment that I spent hurting, there were the moments, oh yes, there were, that I spent just loving you. If anyone should ever write my life story, for whatever reason there may be, you'll be there between each line of pain and of glory, because you're the best thing. I mean, you're the best thing. Yes, you are. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh, yeah.
The producers would like to thank ITV and the BBC for their much valued assistance and cooperation in the production of Our Joe. Why the title, Our Joe? Let this world-renowned comedian explain.
Joe, hi. I know you don't recognise me, an old friend. It doesn't take much for me to say nice things about you. You are a wonderful, wonderful entertainer. When you walk on the stage, as we all know, the best instrument on that stage is your voice. You're excellent. Now, we go back a long time. We go back to the late 60s, early 70s. I remember coming to Hull. The key clubs, remember the key clubs? Got to the door and I seen the club was packed. So I said to the doorman, what's happening? Oh, our Joe's on. And my driver, Keith, said, who's on? I said, apparently the doorman's brother. I didn't know that everybody in Hull loves you to death. Them were the old days, remember the old days, eh? We were pussy magnets, weren't we? Especially me. I've never seen anybody with so much courage. I mean, it was easy for you because you just had to have treatment, walk around with a bald head. We were the ones who were worrying. But at the end of the day, you are a wonderful, wonderful entertainer. In fact, you're the best. You are the top of our business. You are the governor.
Forward. Since meeting and working with Joe, above 20 years ago now, it has always been our intention together to eventually release his life story. As far back as 1994, I was recording numerous interviews with him. This has continued openly throughout our long association. Even as early as June 1994, I obtained £3 million in private backing in order to produce Joe the movie. That's probably equivalent to £12 million today. When presenting the idea to Joe's then new management team of Tony Cartwright and Keith Holliday, the so-called management dream ticket that was within months to turn into an infernal nightmare, they refused to even consider my concept. More upon this ineptitude later in the series. I've interviewed Joe on camera and tape and on conversation scores of times, plus everyone else who could legitimately lay claim to knowing him. For example, Joe's mum and dad, his brother and sister John and Anne, Susan, the mother of his child, Ricky, Chelsea, Joe's estranged granddaughter, Rita Lemmy, his fiancée and partner for above 20 years, Derek White, known to you all as Zeb, the idle jailbirds so aptly named the Holiday Brothers, Derek and Keith, plus Joe's favourite nephew, John Boy Longthorne, a morose, erstwhile individual whom Joe spoilt rotten, all in the hope that he would produce a boy child with the family name of Longthorne to continue the line. Especially now, after Joe missing the opportunity, John Boy is Joe's only last hope. So far, the 36-year-old would far sooner start another alcoholic binge than a family. Last but not least, for the last 12 years, I have spoken with James Moran, Joe's likeable manager and partner, almost on a daily basis throughout that time. This is their story, and I hope you enjoy it. Everything happens for a reason, or so they say. We all have opinions. We all draw conclusions. It's reasonable to say that the more information we have available, the more informed and accurate these conclusions will be. So before you view, before you judge, please try to take into account the following indisputable facts laid out in this story. Joe was born into a family desperately wanting a girl. The name Joanna had already been chosen. She was to replace Selena. For the first 2 years of his life, Joe was treated and dressed like a girl. That in conjunction with being the youngest and the most favoured, he was spoilt rotten. All the hard knocks were taken by his elder brother and 2 sisters, mostly at the hands of their dad, Fred. Nobody ever laid their hands on the girlish Joe. This was to continue until Joe was 14, when he didn't take kindly to being manhandled by his dad for the first time, even though he had thoroughly deserved it after demolishing the kitchen whilst attempting to drive the family's Dormobile van. After that, Joe left the family home, never to sleep there again. Yes, Joe was undisciplined and thoroughly spoilt. Throughout school, he wasn't the fighting tearaway that had been portrayed, being far more at home with the girls than the boys on the sports field, which he hated. Joe was never in the least sportingly inclined. Whenever the family moved home, which was frequently, he automatically had to change schools. He was disruptive in class, mainly brought about because he couldn't get involved due to his dyslexia, a virtually unknown condition at that time. He was very arty, and that set him apart as his feminine side was very apparent, very similar to the later version of Billy Elliot. He was never then, or indeed now, at peace with his own sexuality. An awful burden he will have to carry for the rest of his life. Early stardom didn't help. It created envy and jealousy amongst his male classmates, although it did endear him to the female gender. How much the formative years of his upbringing had a bearing on that is still an open question. What isn't in doubt, however, is that throughout his life he has been a tormented soul. Although early stardom didn't help it, it did allow him the release of performing, which is just about all he really enjoys today. What we should all generously accept is that Joe Longthorne is not a normal person. His life is lived in a surreal world, not the real world. Terry Lodge. Why is it possible to now start the producing of Our Joe? With the passing of Joe's mum and dad, it has made this project possible. The long-awaited and involved account of his life and times in such great factual detail only exists because of the friendship, cooperation and dedication to it from 2 people. They spent 20 years working together as artiste and producer. They are, of course, Joe Longthorne and Terry Lodge.
From Terry Lodge, ladies and gentlemen. Well, while we're on about it, I have to say this, it's a delight to have Terry with us tonight. Terry supported Joe all through the last year. You find out when who your friends are, that's what friends are for, that's his song. And you find out who your friends are when the chips are down. Terry's been magnificent, he's done a great job for Joe all the time Joe's been here. Thank you, Terry. He's been fine.
You're right, eh? You okay? All right.
Yeah, let's get him in.
Thank you. Just let's get some pictures. Come on, let's have a look.
exquisite diamonds, a total of 1.5 carats in weight, set upon a solid stainless steel case and bracelet, precision Swiss movement, white mother of pearl dial, and a special variety club logo. Here we go, the crazy diamond comes presented in a
As you can see, there's been a long association, bonded together by mutual respect and what Joe always called brotherly love. It's not always been an easy relationship. There have been turbulent times, lots of straight talking between two hard-bitten, opinionated Yorkshiremen. Yet remarkably, neither has ever raised his voice to the other.
Glory, 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 hallelujah. It's true, this marching and oh, darling, I love you.
Joe Longthorne doing what he does best, entertaining a packed house. But for Joe, it's been a long road and a hard one.
Sing it back to the band, ladies, young singers. It's true, this marching and it's true, this marching and
This is Hazel Road. It's always a bustling place. The central hall is just down there. This is where the young Joe Longthorne was educated, learned all about business and show business.
I was born in a little place called Rifle Terrace, which is off Walker Street. It was on a very famous place called Hazel Road. And you had to be like either a fisherman or a tinker or a traveller or a rag and bone man. And I was born in the thick of all this.
But you weren't the fisherman, so what were you?
No, I was born from travelling people. My father was with the fairgrounds during the war.
And he always could put your hand, like the tinkers, to 1/10 of the under, maybe a bit of grinding, you know, street grinders, or tatting or anything. You was brought in, you know, brought up to it. And my dad brought it up. He even let me to drive a motor when I was about 10 or 11, down these back alleys. Put your foot on that, son, do this, son, and I'll be up there gathering some scrap, you know.
You'll have it to do one day.
It's in you.
Your years as an entertainer?
Oh, well, I've had a marvellous time entertaining. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been sort of, if you like, professional since I was that age, because after my first talent competition, I was hooked into the entertainment business, but I think I would have been anyway. I think I was born to be in it, if you know what I mean. I come from a travelling family, hawkers and, you know, tinkers and things. And there's a lot of singers in the family and people and comedians, would you believe?
There was no way of stopping him, because wherever he was singing. If I couldn't find him in the street, it was only in ordinary streets where we live, I couldn't find him, I'd have to shout and bawl him, come on, television show ringing up for you, Joe, you know, and he used to come over singing, and he'd been singing wherever he'd come from, you know, concerts and all like that, you know, entertaining old people more than anything then, to see what they thought about him.
So he was always a bit of a showman?
Always, always. The, when he was at school, I remember the teacher saying to me, could you stop him from shouting ragbone? Because the ragbone man used to come round. Joe said, I can't because I'm a ragbone man myself.
Did singing come naturally?
Yes, it did. I think it did because it was the first thing I could ever... What I enjoyed doing was singing. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, and all this sort of stuff when I was a kid. My sister introduced me to my first talent competition. It was one of them Parks Department things where they pulled the front of the wagon down. And most of your viewers here will remember that when the kids used to go in the council to send the van round, and there'd be little competitions and things.
Do you remember what you sang?
Yes, I sang Sugar in the Morning because the actual compare that he must have been about 16 hours for, and my sister, she made him an offer he couldn't refuse because she said, no, my brother's singing Sugar in the Morning, so she got him by the neck. Anyway, I sang Sugar in the Morning, and I won this super red car, and there was also a pound. And in the end, I got the pound and the car. So that was me in show business. Then I went on Junior Showtime years after with Mark Curry and Glimpool and Bonnie Langford and people like this for quite a while.
He's only come from a working class people, and he's been in it since, we'll say, from 5 years of age, entertaining sort of thing, and he's come on and on. He was on the Junior Showtime at Leeds City Variety, at Burley Road, I believe it was. Yorkshire Television then, and I had a sister, well, she still lives here, well, she doesn't live here, but she lives in Leeds, where I used to go twice a week and get seen to with her, because I was working, you see, and she used to see that he was ready and to go to the television studios to carry on with his show each week. He used to rehearse twice a week at the Leeds City Varieties. But we used to help Mum to, you know, buy and sell, to go knocking on the door with pots, exchanging for clothes and all such like.
And Joe was soon brought into the family business.
I used to go out with my dad for quite a while. He used to have a little house and car, and then he moved on to a truck. And I used to go out with him as early as 3, you know, sit with him while I do what we used to call calling, and go around and call different houses and things and collect his scrap metal and things.
So this is totting?
Totting,
sort
yeah.
of rag and bone?
General dealing.
When he used to leave school, I'd made him a barrow, a little handcart, and the first thing he did before he had a cup of tea or anything or a sandwich, you know, he'd grab the barrow and he'd go up doing a bit of tatting all around the neighbourhood. And they all used to know him, and hello Joe, I've got something for you, a bit of brass or a bit of copper, you know. And he used to come home loaded and then go out again on his little handcart.
And Hessel Road was ideal territory for Joe's other fast-growing passion.
He used to go in the fish shop and sing, the corner of the street. And he would sing in there because the fishermen was all at work then, because it's all gone now, the fishing industry. And it used to get packed, and he'd go in there and he'd sing. He'd get fish and chips, and the lady'd put them on the top of the pan to keep warm. Then somebody, will you give us another one, Joe? Well, I don't know, I have to hurry up. And if their hands didn't go in their pockets, they wouldn't sing a song or anything.
That was it, so that was my start. And I just loved it, so I went from talent competition to talent competition. Then when we travelled on the road as well in trailers, because we used to do a bit of picking in Wisbeach, and we used to go over picking and stuff, you know, the full family and stuff, and meet other families up from Kent and things, and do a lot of this picking. And then I couldn't do that after a while, so I went to local talent shows. That's all I used to do, pick a fiver up and go in and sing. And I mean, I lost a few times as well, but I mean, it was a sort of a way of getting compensation for what you're doing. You know, you do what you do, but yeah, it's a funny old game.
And the funny old game was about to lead to fame and fortune. The bright lights of Las Vegas were still a distant dream, but round the corner was Junior Showtime.
And now, from Yorkshire's Palace of Varieties, a Junior Showtime Spectacular!
This grainy home recording is the only reminder left of Junior Showtime, but in its day it was one of television's top-rated shows and gave a start to many young performers, Joe Longthorne among them. Your first break on television was the famous Junior Showtime.
Indeed, yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, my mum went to applied in the newspapers and the national press that York's Television were again auditioning kids to go on and I'm going as a spot on the Junior Showtime. And I went to do an audition in Grimsby where I met Jean Pierce, that's the comedian Billy Pierce's mother.
He looked about 12, I didn't know how old he was, and he came in with another boy who played the piano for him, which was unusual because I was doing the playing, and he sang I Believe, and he sang it really well. I just sort of went, oh, not a bad note amongst it, and I just put on, you must use this boy.
Junior Showtime was run by the Bishop, the formidable Jess Yates.
He was a bit frightening, and I've seen him in some of his terrible moods and things, you know. He expected you to be able to do what you were doing right.
Joe had warned Jean that while he could sing, he couldn't read or write.
She stuck by me and went to the Bishop and said, you know, we've got this kid here, you know, I mean, I can't really say what she did, but it's something like, well, you know, he's a good voice and stuff, and he's a bit cheeky, he does this stuff, but I'm sure he's going to do something, but he can't do scripts and things. Well, Jeff was a script man, and that was it, but he decided to give me a chance.
So he made his television debut, but fame wasn't instantaneous.
For the first 2 or 3 months on the TV show, I told all my friends in Hull, watch this one, man, you know, talk about Don Coloni. I said, I'm going to be a big this, that and the other.
All I could do was laugh because we didn't see him. All we could see was legs because he was dressed up as a rabbit or something.
Oh, that was his first do. He was dressed up, and when he come home, he said, where am I? I said, there you are, rabbits.
His brother was
saying... That was just to get used to it, he said.
So as we know who he was, Howard Jones said, that's his brother. Said, that's it, I can tell his legs, mother. And I went from that, I thought, yes, it is him, you know, because it's never changed that way.
But then that would be it for a few more months. I'd be at the back again, and maybe be a mushroom or something, or a lion, or a Chinaman. Because my friends would say, well, I said, that was me at the back, you know, I was that Chinaman that I used to get into fights and all sorts. But it was months before I actually took the front line. Then I was invited by Bobby Bennett to come to the front, and then I used to compare the show with Bobby Bennett.
Let's again lighten the mood a little. Sit back and enjoy Joe in full flow, in concert with excerpts from the 1993 video that achieved the distinction of attaining #1 position in the charts.
I was appearing in this town here in Blackpool at the Opera House, and my wife was a fan, and I said, well, you know, we might as well take a step further, and I think we could do a video on Joe Longthorne. And she said, she didn't say, well, she didn't say if, she said when, because she knows I'm quite a determined sort of person. So we walked in off the street in the October of '93, met with Zeb White, Joe's manager, and then with Joe himself. And Barbara was absolutely delighted backstage with Joe, as any fan would be. And I was rather taken with his talent. He was absolutely unbelievable. The guy is a genius, you know. And we said, well, would you allow me to take you to #1, which was a bit of bravado, really, but it actually happened. You know, he said, yes. He said, I'll allow you to risk your money.
So you produced a video for him?
Yes.
Did you tell him that your previous experience had been pigeon racing videos?
No. No, I didn't. I thought that might have been a bit off-putting, you know, from birds to a star like Joe, you know, really, and it's rather a jump. And it got a bit of press after him. We all had a big laugh about it.
You've been with Joe through some, you know, ups and downs in his
It's been a roller coaster
career.
ride, Alan. It really has. A tremendous time, through thick and thin, and we've both had very, very difficult times, and together and apart, really. And it's been going on now about 8 or 9 years now. But we work well together, and that's the main thing, really. We respect each other.
How in the bad times, how bad was it?
Well, it's peculiar, actually, because I've been away for probably 2.5 years from Joe, 3 years now, and I didn't realise, but we've travelled similar paths. Well, I very nearly had a nervous breakdown, and Joe did. I lost everything, and Joe did. But fortunately, like good Yorkshire lads, we've got stuck in there and we've come back.
So you parted company for a couple of years,
Yes.
and then is it a winning team now?
It always has been when we've been together. You know, we've had 2 number 1s and a very near miss at number 2. And it was only Riverdance, that was the Royal Albert Hall when I worked with Joe, and there was only Riverdance, which was a phenomena, that actually kept it away from 3 number 1s on the track.
The 1993 video Joe Longthorne in Concert was the first time Joe and Terry teamed up together. It was to prove to be their first number 1 hit, but not their last, as their partnership was to become the finest ever artist-producer association in history of recording of concert videos.
I loved you, time and again, I will try to say that all I want you to know. I loved you, words would come in an easy way around in circles I'd go. Longing to tell you and afraid and too shy. I let my golden chances pass me by. So soon you'd leave me. Off you would go in the midst of day, when never ever to know. Loved you. Oh, when you walk the snow, will you hear the pine? And don't be afraid of the dark was at the end of the storm. There's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of love. Walk on through the rain, walk on through the wind, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on
Let's continue by having a little bit of fun. Who can truly lay claim to being the world's #1 entertainer? The definitive answer, we believe, is overwhelmingly provided in our series of DVDs. Please enjoy our audio reminder of their immense vocal talents. Let's consider several performers who definitely deserve our attention. Al Jolson, the man who starred in the world's first talking movie, The Jazz Singer, in 1927.
And you ain't in nothing yet, baby. The April showers may come your way. They bring the flowers that bloom in May. So keep on looking for a bluebird and listening for its song whenever April showers come along. When there are gray skies, I don't mind the gray skies. You make them blue, sunny boy. Friends may forsake me, let them all forsake me. I still have you, sonny boy. California, here I come, right back where I started from. The bowers of flowers bloom in the spring. Each morning at dawn and birdies singing, everything a sun kissed me said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up, open your golden gates, California. California, here I come.
Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes himself, a star of TV, stage, cabaret and screen.
Okay, let's sip up a little bit of Blue Eyes here. I get no kicks from champagne. Beer alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So why, tell me why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? I get a kick every time I see you standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's clear to me that obviously he does not adore me. Some get their kicks in a plane, flying too high with some chick and a score is my idea of nothing to do. But I get a kick, you give me a toot, I get a kick out of you. I get a kick out of you.
Judy Garland, the child star of The Wizard of Oz, who continued to enchant audiences worldwide throughout her life.
The night is bitter, stars have lost their glitter. The wind grows colder and suddenly you're older. There's just no let out, it's all a crazy game. for the man that God our way. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Someday I wish upon a star to wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, birds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why, oh then oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't Thank you so much. Clang, clang, clang when the trolley, ding, ding, ding when the bell. Stop, stop when my heartstrings, as he started to leave, I got hold of his sleeve with my hand, and as if it were planned, he stayed on with me, and it was grand just to stand with his hand, holding on till the end of the line.
Sammy Davis Jr., the mercurial song and dance man, also an accomplished musician and film star.
With a song in my heart, I behold your adorable face. Just a song at the start, and it soon is a hymn to your grace. When the music swells, I'm touching your hand. It tells me you're standing near. At the sound of your voice, heaven now opens its bundles to me. Can I help but rejoice that a love such as ours came to be? But I always knew I would live right through with a song in my heart for
Elvis Presley. To multi-millions of his followers, he is simply known as the King. He moved show business onto another level.
Well, that's all right, Mama. That's all right with you. That's all right, Mama. Any way you want to do, well, that's all right. Well, that's all right. That's all right now, Mama. Any way you do. Well, Mama, she done told me, and Papa done told me too. She's some that girl you're fooling with. She ain't no good for you, but that's all
Dame Shirley Bassey. Dynamic simply doesn't describe her. She recorded 3 James Bond theme songs and more single hits, 25, than any other female artist.
Thank you. The diamonds are forever, sparkling on my little finger. And my friend, the diamonds linger. Men are mere mortals who are not worth going to your grave for. I don't need love, for what good will love do me? Diamonds never lie to me. And when love's gone, they're lost alone. Diamonds are forever. Diamonds are forever. And ever. And ever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. My name is Shirley Bassey, and it's so wonderful to be back here tonight. I love it all, darling. I do. I love it all. No, it's all over, and the feeling stirring me is the same. Yes, I will remember him now that he's gone. For that was beautiful, so beautiful, beautiful to be loved. Hearts gone astray, deep and hurt when they go. So I went away just when you needed me so. You won't regret it, I'll come back begging you. And you won't forget it, who once loved me once knew. So open up your eyes, then you'll realize, here I stand with my everlasting love. Need you by my side, girl, you'll be my bride. You'll never be denied everlasting love from the very start. Girl, you'll be a part, come on, be a part of everlasting love. 'Cause you won't regret it, I'll come back begging you, and you won't forget it. Welcome, love we once knew. So open up your eyes, then you realize, here I stand with my everlasting love. Need you by my side, girl, to be my bride. You'll never be denied everlasting love. Oh If the sun should tumble from the skies, if the seas should suddenly run dry, if you love me, really love me, let it happen, I won't care. If it seems that everything is lost, I will smile, never count the cost. If you love me, really love me, then whatever happens, I won't care. Should I catch a shooting star? Should I bring it where you are? If you want me to, I will. If you want me to, I will. You can set me anytime. I'll do anything you ask. If you'll only love me still. And when at last my life on earth is through, I will share eternity with you. If you love me, really love me, then whatever happens, I won't care. The road is long with a many winding turn that leads us to knows where, who knows where. But I'm strong enough to carry. Seeing heaven is my brother. If I'm leaning, then I'm leaning with sadness that everyone's heart isn't filled with gladness of the love for one another. It's a long, long road from which there is no return. While we're on our way to there, why not share? And the Lord doesn't weigh me down at all. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Don't you know he ain't heavy? He's my brother. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to fight the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for us, that one man scorned and covered with scars still storms with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star and to fight the unbeatable foe, to dream the unreachable star.
And here's some more. Engelbert Humperdinck, the king of the romantic ballad. His easy listening soft tones captivated the world, a massive star in the Las Vegas halcyon years.
Please release me, let me go, for I don't love you anymore. To waste our lives would bring us pain. So release me and let me love again. So release me and let me love again.
John Lennon, the power behind the Beatles. He contributed greatly to the development of popular music throughout the world, both with his writing and his singing.
Imagine there's no heaven, no. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, no. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. No, 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 no. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. So give peace a chance. So this is Christmas.
Sir Tom Jones, the powerhouse from Wales. His energy on stage transfixed audiences the world over. Elvis was a massive fan and attended Tom's concerts in Las Vegas.
I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window, and I saw the flickering shadow of love on her blind. She was my woman. Forgive me, Delilah, I just couldn't take anymore. Okay, sing it with me, come on. Just couldn't take anymore. Why, Delilah, yeah. My, Delilah, oh yeah. So, before they come to break down the door, forgive me, Delilah, I just couldn't take anymore. Forgive me, Delilah, just couldn't take anymore. Oh, yeah.
Perhaps it's a band. Queen. Freddie Mercury accompanied by superb musicians. His vocal range, delivery and control were the envy of all.
Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pull my trigger, now he's dead. Too late, time had just begun, and now we're gone and thrown it all away. Mama, I didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back this time again tomorrow, carry on. Nothing really matters much to me anymore. Oh yes, I'm the great pretender I'm doing well. My deed is such, I pretend too much. I'm lonely, but no one can tell. Too real is this feeling of make-believe. Too real when I feel what my heart can't conceive. Oh yes, I'm the great pretender, laughing gay like a clown. I seem to be what I'm not. You see, I'm wearing my heart like a clown, pretending that you're still around.
The Beatles. In modern music, the greatest writers and innovators of all. Their influence in that regard is way beyond compare.
Oh yeah, I tell you something, I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand. And
The Bee Gees. Morris, Barry and Robin created marvellous tight harmonies in conjunction with wonderful falsetto vocals that captivated the musical world.
I'm going back to Massachusetts. Something's telling me I must go home. And the lights all went down in Massachusetts the day I left her standing all alone. And the lights all went down in Massachusetts the day I left her standing all alone. Hear my story, it's sad, it's true, about a girl I once knew. She took my love and run it around with every single guy in town. Her, keep away from running around soon. I should have known it from the very start. This girl would leave me with a broken heart. Now listen, people, what I'm telling you. I keep away from a run around soon. She likes to travel around. She'll love you, she'll put you down. Now people, let me put you on. She goes out with other guys. Hurt, whoa, whoa, hurt, whoa, whoa, hurt, whoa, whoa, you keep away from a run around soon. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brains. You control drives a man insane. You broke my will, ooh, what a thrill. Goodness gracious, screaming on the fire. I think you don't remember it was funny. You came along and broke me high. I was fine, this love is fine. Goodness gracious, scream on the fire. Kiss me, baby. Ooh, it's good. Hold me, baby. I wanna love you like I love should. You're fine, so fine. I gotta tell the world that you're mine. You never threw my phone. Real never, but sure is fine. Come on, baby, drive me crazy. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I hope all nights when you don't know you've been this lonely. When you're with me, oh boy, the world will see that you were meant for me. Stars appear and shadows fall. I'm in my heart, boy, and a little bit of love makes heaven cry. I'm gonna see my baby tonight. All my life I've been waiting. Tonight there'll be no hesitating, no boy. When you're with me, oh boy, the world will see that you were meant for me. My love, my darling, I hunger for your touch. Are you
great. What a lovely song.
My hero.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. Hero. Well, Karen, it's great to have you on the show singing, but I'd like you to do an impression if you would.
I know well. I mean, I must tell them this, you see. For years and years, I've been doing this song, and I've only ever been able to do one half of it.
That's true, and for years I've been doing the other half, ladies and gentlemen. But right now we're going to do... Right now, well, I've got him. Right now, we're going to do both parts together, and we're going to sing it for you. Neil Diamond and Barbra Streisand, You Don't Bring Me Flowers.
You don't bring me flowers, you don't sing me love songs.
You hardly talk to me anymore when I come through the door at the end of the day.
I remember when you couldn't wait to love me. You used to hate to leave me. Now after loving you late at night.
Well, it's good for you, babe, and you're feeling alright.
Well, you just roll over and turn the light, and you don't bring me flowers anymore.
Used to be so natural,
Used to
talked about forever. Used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away.
Baby, I remember all the things you taught me.
Well, I learned how to laugh, and I learned how to cry.
Well, I learned how to love, and I learned how to lie.
So you think I could learn how to tell you goodbye? You don't say you need me.
You don't sing me love songs.
You don't bring me flowers
Karen Kay, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you right after the break. Thank you.
Now if you come, but you can't go on. Can't go on. Your hope is gone. Your hope is gone. It's through with confusion. Much comes your happiness. Just an illusion. And the world around is falling apart. Darling, reach out. Reach out. I'll be there with love to shelter you. I'll be there with love to see you through.
The last 6 for your consideration. Stevie Wonder, the great American singer with a magnificent vocal range.
You said there would be one love in autumn. That is when you started to be cold. No, I
Barry Manilow, from being Bette Midler's accompanist to one of the world's finest songwriters and performers.
Spirit move me every time I'm near you, whirling like a cyclone in my mind. Sweet Melissa, angel of my lifetime, answer to all answers I can find. Baby, I want you to come, come on, come, oh, come into my arms and let me know the wonder of all of you. Could it be magic? Come, come on, come on, come, oh, come into my world and let me know the wonder of all of you. Baby, I want you now. Come on, come, oh, come into my arms and let me know the wonder of all of you. 'Cause baby, I want you now. Come on now, oh, now and hold my fast. Oh, could this be the magic at last? Could it be magic? Come, oh, come into my arms.
Nat King Cole, his velvet soft vocals and tones have never been matched.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I'm unforgettable too. Round the lane rolls, round and rolls, why you ramble, no one knows. Wild and wind blown, that's how you go. Who can claim to a rambling rose? When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. And the moment I can feel that, you feel that way too, is when I fall in love with you.
Neil Diamond, the ultimate songwriter performer, revered worldwide.
The jazz singer himself, Mr. Neil Diamond. Far, you travel so far without a home, but not without a star.
September morn, we danced until the night became a brand new day. Two lovers playing scenes from some romantic play. September morning still can make me feel this way. September morn, we danced until the night became a brand new day. Two lovers playing scenes from some romantic play. September morning still can make me feel this way. September morning still can make me feel this way.
Ray Charles, the pioneer and father of soul, blues and gospel music.
Live in memories of our lonesome time. Those happy hours that we once knew, yeah, so long ago, yes, that they still make me blue. Oh, yeah. And they say the time, should they say the time is all gone. But time stood still, yeah, since we've been apart. I can't stop loving you, yeah. It's useless to say yes and yeah. So I'll just live my life in dreams of yesterday. Oh, yesterday. Don't come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. On me, and you're the meanest old woman that I ever did say. I guess if you say so, I'll have to get my things and go. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. Oh, woman, don't you dreaming this way? I'll be back on my knees someday. I don't care if you do, cause it's understood. You ain't got no money and you're just no good. I guess if you say so, I'll have to get my things and go. Come on, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. Don't you come back no more, yeah. Don't you come back no more. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Perry Como, this great American crooner's career spanned an incredible 7 decades.
Don't look so sad. I know it's over. Life goes on, and this old world, it keeps on turning. Don't say a word about tomorrow forever. There's no need to watch the bridges that were burning. Lay your head upon my pillow. hold your warm and tender body close to mine. Hear the whisper of the raindrops flowing soft against the window, and make believe you love me one more time, for the good time, for the good time.
Virtually all of these great performers have appeared in the three most famous show business capitals on our planet countless times: Las Vegas, Broadway, and the London's West End. That's not all these iconic entertainers you have just listened to have in common. In the previous recordings, they were not singing, not even the bands. Our candidate for the #1 spot sang all the vocal parts and all of the harmonies. So let's throw another hat into the ring. Our candidate for the accolade of the world's #1 entertainer. As if to emphasize his credentials, he has just impersonated all of the other possible contenders for the honor of becoming the world's #1 entertainer. His own tremendous singing voice is the equal of all comers, but by way of his hundreds of vocal impressions, both male and female, he outperforms them all. In our opinion, the world's #1 entertainer is Joseph Patrick Daniel Longthorne, MBE.
Johnny be good, run around Sue, drain pipe trousers and greasy hair too. Elvis Presley was king at the top, Danny and the Juniors were bopping at the hop. These days are gone, but not for long. Come take a trip with me, some of the singers and songs. Sure, it's useless to say, yes it is. So I'll just live my life in dreams of yesterday. Why don't you sing it, children? I can't stop wanting you. Oh, I made up my mind, yes I have, to live in memory of a lonesome time. Oh, yeah. Dearest darling, I have to write to say that I won't be home anymore, 'cause I was only 24 hours from Tulsa. I'm only one day away from your rose. I hate to do this to you, but I found somebody new, and I'll never go home again. If your sweetheart sends a letter of goodbye, it's no secret you'll feel better if you cry. Just wake up from a bad dream behind a cloudy sky and let your head down and go right on and cry. What do you want if you don't want money?
What do you want if you don't want gold? I'll say what you want, I'll give it to you, darling. Wish you wanted my love, baby. I wish you wanted my love, baby. Mr. Buddy Holly! If you knew how Peggy Sue, you know why I feel so blue about Peggy. My Peggy Sue, well, I love you, girlie, and I want you, Peggy Sue. They love me tender, love me true, say baby, never let you go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Sing it, honey. Love me tender, love me true, oh, my dreams fulfill. Oh, my darling, I love you, and I always will.
Superb accolades and tributes from Joe's peers. Joe is one of the greatest live performers I have ever seen. Andy Williams. The finest talent, he is ranked up there at the top. Bob Hope. A staggering talent, he must be the last of a breed. Kevin Spacey. You are the best talent this country has ever produced. Engelbert Humperdinck. The star of stars, Ken Dodd. He is just the best, Dame Shirley Bassey. Accolades and tributes continued. He has entertained millions of people, a true star, Liz Dawn. The best vocal entertainer in the world, Jimmy Tarbuck. You are such an amazing talent, the consummate performer, Barbara Windsor. The human jukebox, Sir Terry Wogan. He is one of the greatest talents I have ever heard in my life, an inspiration to us all, Lord Geoffrey Archer. Everybody loves him. He's a giant in the entertainment world, Roy Chubby Brown. The crown fits Joe. Please embrace it. Joe Longthorne is such a modest man, without ego or materialistic values, that when the ultra-successful 2002 concert DVD was released, which Terry had entitled The Genius of Joe Longthorne, he pulled him to one side. Terry, who's titled this concert DVD? Realising that Joe was none too pleased, and after promising to return with the answer, Terry beat a hasty retreat. As usual, Joe soon forgave and forgot, remarking later in his autobiography that he was the only one disturbed by the title. The DVD was endorsed by all who have ever watched it. Now let's hear what Joe's performing colleagues think.
My next guest tonight is quite simply one of the most talented young men it's ever been my privilege to work with. He is without doubt in my mind the best singing impressionist in the world. Give a great big welcome to the one and only Joe Longthorne.
In the morning, when the moon is at its rest, you will find me at the time I love the best, building castles in a shifting sand, in a world no one understands. It is the morning, it is the morning of my life, it is the morning of my life, it is the morning of my life. Yeah!
any David Bowie fans in the theatre? Well, here he is, Johnny Mathis.
Dawns a brand new morn. This comes to pass when a child is born. It's all a dream and illusion now. It must come true sometime soon, somehow. For a spell or two, no one seems forlorn. This comes to pass when a child is born. This comes to pass when a child is born. Maria, Maria.
Let's take a look at the old days, ladies and gentlemen. I was watching that fabulous movie, The Jazz Singer. Did anybody see it? Did anybody see it when Al Jolson was in it? A very, very, very old movie, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine what happened if you put Al Jolson with today's fabulous Neil Diamond. You may get something like this. Neil Diamond and Al Jolson.
Hello, my friends, hello. Just called to say hello. It's good to love you like I do, and to feel this way when I hear you say hello. Maybe it's been crazy, maybe I'm to blame, my baby, but I put my heart above my head. Listen to me, baby, we've been through it all, but you love me just the same. When you're not here, I need to stay. You ain't ate nothing yet, baby. Hello, my friends, hello. Just called to say hello. It's good to love you like I do, and to feel this way when I hear you say good night. Hello.
Only. I've got to say this, and I've been looking forward to saying this all night, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. And I have to say this to you. There aren't many artists in the world who don't need an introduction.
Good evening.
I don't know why I'm frightened. I know my way around here. The band, the lights, familiar sights, and the sound here in a world discover, and to stop my heart from pounding, I may need a moment. Whispered conversations in overcrowded hallways. The atmosphere so thrilling here, as always. Feel the magic in the making, and the wonder in the evening. Yes, why everything's as if we never said goodbye. I won't be alone. That's all in song past. I'm center stage, and I've come home at last. This time it will be bigger, much brighter than we were. Watch me fly, you all know I can do it. And to stop myself from sinking in the early morning madness, everything's as if we never said goodbye. Yes, everything's as if we never said goodbye. Sweet Marie, who waits for me, yeah, 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 for me.
Huge talent, and I'd like you to know I'm a huge fan of Joe Longthorne.
Frank Sinatra, she gets too hungry for dinner at 8, and she adores the theater, but she never comes late, and she doesn't bother with those people that she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp. Sammy, she loves the free, cool, fresh, now wind in her hair, just life without care, and she's broke, that is all. Hates California, it's cold and it's damp. Ah, that's why the lady, that's why the lady, that's why the lady is a tramp. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, Des O'Connor. To all the girls I've loved before, wondering how it all, glad they came along. I dedicate this song to all the girls I've loved before. Willie Nelson, all the girls who shared my life. Now there's someone else's wife, for helping me lot I know to all the girls I've loved before. Engelbert. The wheels of change are always blowing. Anytime she goes away, Mathis. The wind of change continue blowing and just carry me away. Julio. The workers I once was, yes, in the cellar. Myself till the deepest, helping me to grow. I owe a lot I know to all the girls I've loved. I have loved before, to all the girls I've loved before. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shirley Bassey. Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Bruce. Ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful about your world, you're nice. I love it, darling. If I may, I'd like to sing a song now with a great friend of mine, Tom Jones. The song's called I You Have Nothing. Go like this. I who have nothing, and I who have no one, I thought you and what you saw, I'm just a one with nothing to give you all. I love you. Come on, Tom. I'm coming. He buys you diamonds, bright, sparkling diamonds. But believe me, and when I say that he can give you the world, he'll never love you the way I love you. He can take you any place you want. Fancy clubs and restaurants. I can only watch your my nose pressed up against the window pane. But I who have nothing, and I who have no one, I've gotta watch you go dancing by, pretty baby, right to the other somebody else, darling, it's all I love you. I love you. Oh, love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Britain's top vocal impressionist, Joe Longthorne.
You are the sunshine of my life. Yes, that is why I'll always stay around.
Oh, and you're the apple of my eye, and forever you will stay in my arms. Well, I feel like this is the beginning. Though I've loved you for a billion years, oh, and the 5 foot I was then I find myself drowning in my own tears.
life. Yeah. And that is why I'll always stay around you. Ah, that is why I'll be around you. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shirley Bassey. I have nothing, and I have no one. Adore you and want you so. I'm just one with nothing to give you but all. I love you. Come on, Tom. Now he buys you diamonds, bright, sparkling diamonds. But believe me, yeah, when I say that he can give you the world, he'll never love you the way I love you. He can take you any place he wants. Fancy glass and restaurants, like money what you with my nose pressed up against the window frame. But I use nothing, and I use no one. I've gotta watch you go dancing by, in the arms of somebody else, when honey it's me who loves you. I love you. I love you.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now introduce you to, if I may, one of the greatest stars ever to come out of this country, Des O'Connor and friends. To all the girls I've loved before, let me give along. I pity on him on. It's Julio. To all the girls I once caressed. Dear, within my heart, you'll always be a part of all the girls I loved. It's our version of Julio. The winds of change are always blowing. Anytime I try to stay, the wind of change continues blowing and just carry me away. It's Engelbert. To all the girls I once caressed, and me I see I will love best. They live within my heart. I'll always be a part of all the girls I love. You can never say this before. To all the girls I love below. There's a song written by by Don Black, ladies and gentlemen. In my heyday, young girls wrote to me. Everybody seemed to have time to devote to me. Everyone I saw swore they knew me. Once upon a star, the main attraction, you couldn't buy a seat. I was the celebrity celebrities would die to meet. I've had every accolade bestowed on me. And so you see, if I never sing, I know the song, it wouldn't bother me. I've had my share of fame, you know my name. If I never sing, I know the song, I'll take another bow. I would get by, but I'm not sure. Oh, always posing, but you love it all. Though I have to learn to act like I'm above it all. Everything I did, the world applauded me. Once upon a star. Frame citations hang on every wall. I've got a scrapbook full of quotes I can't recall them all. There was a time when I thought all the world belonged to me. And so you see, if I never sing another song, no, it would not bother me. I've had my share of la-di-da, you know my name. If I never sing, I know the song. I'll take another bow. I would get by, but I don't know.
Karen's is a truly remarkable story, shortly to be told on television. Discovered by Joe Longthorne and Terry Lodge, she is still an amateur. Terry invited her into a studio at the age of 49 for the first time. She recorded Born to Sing, and in the next 2 years the albums With All My Heart and All of My Life were produced. Then, on her first time in front of a camera in St Thomas's Church, Winchelsea, she amazed everyone with her performance. Her first time filmed on stage produced the unique, appearing to be at the London Palladium. All is now in place for real singers, real songs, to launch the career of this excitingly refreshing artiste. In many professionals' opinion, the likes of her talent has not been seen and heard since the golden era of the 60s, when we were blessed with the likes of Shirley, Dusty and Barbara. The talent of Karen Lee Burnett turns back time. The world's finest entertainer introduces Karen Lee Burnett, the lady with the golden voice. It has always been my fervent hope that we could discover a British female vocalist that could compete with anything that America past or present has produced. It's so wonderful to have helped in the discovery of Karen. There are exciting times ahead. Joe. Joe's vocal assessment of Karen. She has the technical ability and range of Barbara Streisand, the crystal clear clarity and precision of Doris Day, the beautiful soft silky tones of another Karen, Karen Carpenter, and dare I say the dynamic power and energy of Judy Garland. all in one voice. But more importantly, immediately you'll hear our Karen sing. You know it's her, and prepare to be amazed.
Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find there's a way of forgiving. Somewhere, there's a place for us. Somewhere a place for us. Peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us. Someday there'll be a time for us. Time together with time to spare. Time to learn with time to care. Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find there's a way of forgiving. Somewhere, somewhere. There's a place for us, a time and a place for us. Hold my hand and we're halfway there. Just hold my hand and I'll take you there. Somehow, someday, I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come to show the way. I believe, I I believe above the storm, the smallest breath believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry or touch a leaf or see the sky, then I I was alone, you were alone, parallel lines that touched one another, just feeling our way, lost in the dark, drawn to each other. So much to say and so much to do, so much of you for me to discover, like what makes you laugh and what makes you cry. How does a friend become a lover too? I've waited all of my life to find someone who'd meet my heart and read my mind, to light my days and warm my nights, someone I know I could call my someone for all my life. Looking at you, looking at me, loving the look of love that I see there. I find when I look deep in your eyes, reflections of me I've waited all of my life to find someone who'd read my heart and read my mind, to light my days and warm my nights. Now all at once in your arms, everything's new. All that I feel tells me it's true. All that I ask is all of my life with you. He is young, he's afraid. Let him rest, heaven blessed. Bring him home, bring him home, bring him home. He's like the sun I might have known if God had granted me a son. The summers die one by one, how soon they fly on and on. And I am old and will be gone. Bring him peace, bring him joy. He is young, he is only a boy. You can take, you can give. Let him be, let him live. If I die, let me die. Let him live. Bring him home. Please bring him home. Bring him no more talk of darkness. Forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here, nothing can harm you. My words will warm and calm you. Let me be your freedom. Let daylight dry your tears. I'm here with you, beside you, to guard you and to guide you. And then say you'll love me every winter morning. Turn my head with talk of summertime. Say you need me with you now and always. Promise me that all you say is true. That's all I ask of you. Let me be your shelter. Let me be your light. You're safe, no one will find you. Your fears are far behind you. All we need is freedom, a world that's warm and bright, and you always beside me, to hold me and to hide me. Say you'll share with me one love, one lifetime. Let me lead you from your solitude. Say the word and I will follow you. Share each day with me, each night, each morning. Say you feel the way I do. That's all I ask of you. Anywhere you go, let me go too. Love me, that's all I ask of you. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of that storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on. When you walk through a storm, hold
but you're not sort of sitting back on your laurels, even though you are poorly yourself. You're actually looking forward, and you're actually writing apparently an autobiography?
Yes, I am. I'm writing an autobiography with the help of Terry, and one of our friends from Yorkshire Television is going to be actually writing it. But it's an autobiography.
And Joe's thought of the title, it's Sugar in the Morning. And Sugar in the Morning is the first song that Joe ever sang on stage. And when he won his first competition in the parks when he was 4 years of age, you know. It's tremendous. It's got tragedy and triumphs, laughter and tears. It's unbelievable. He's lived 2 lives in such a short time. It would make wonderful, wonderful television. It really would, and that's what we want to do with it eventually. Alan's a journalist, as everybody knows, a wonderful journalist. I've done all the research, and Joe himself and the family have contributed already, and with some other people to see yet.
The first like, should we say, hour would make 6 one-hour specials because of the background and the different raggle-taggle gypsy or sort of thing, and the rise to sort of fame, if you like.
To help right a wrong. The publishing of the Joe Longthorne official autobiography with the lamentable Chris Berry in 2010 was a huge anticlimax and a promotional mistake by Joe's management team. It also contravened a written contract Joe and Jamie have with Terry Lodge. He was wrongly omitted from any of the secret negotiations conducted with Great Northern Books, the eventual publishers. From left to right, the managing director of Great Northern Books, Brian Cox, Joe, and Chris Berry. As previously explained, Joe and Terry had been working together for 20 years. By pointing out to Joe that his close friend Pat Mancini had successfully released her autobiography, The Queen of Blackpool, Terry realised that this would stimulate Joe into action. He would be unable to resist doing the same. The above footage is from 2005, 5 years prior to Chris Berry's fairy story publication. Joe was elated at the prospect of his friend Alan Hardwick being the author of it, and by using all the research material gathered by Terry over the years.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm honoured that you're doing the book for me, I really am.
I just want to get a dictionary. I need a chuffing dictionary.
No, but, you know, I only saw that the life story, you know, about well, from now I saw it about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
The first time I've seen it.
Yeah.
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Fantastic. I'm pretty good. That one Ned
Are you doing the radio as well?
Yeah.
Many of the early drafts have been completed. In this gloves-off, honest account of Joe's life, one can only assume that Joe's management had an acute attack of cold feet, realising that Alan's version would be warts and all. In consequence, a weak, insipid version of events was eventually published. The work, when published, was immediately condemned by Jamie Moran, often remarking that he had lived through all of this, and Chris Berry's account was unrecognisable to him. Several times, presumably being honest and in front of witnesses, he damned it, the Book of Lies. In fact, if any fan over the years had purchased Joe's tour brochures, they would have been better and more reliably informed. Berry's so-called masterpiece was a laughing stock, a fanciful fairy story. The only person relieved when it was completed and published was Jamie, simply because he said it would now satisfy Joe, who had been on his case for months, to get it written and published. Why were the results so pathetic? Number 1. Chris Berry, by his own admission, had only known Joe a few months before the book was published. His only aim was quick completion for self-promotional purposes, not the most noble of reasons. As part of his ego trip, it was agreed by Jamie that Berry could appear on stage supporting Joe on the up-and-coming tour. It must be said that immediately it had been agreed, Berry placed the fact upon his webpage. Little did we all realise how demeaning his presence on tour to the show's credibility would prove to be. Immediately when he performed on tour for the first time, it was obvious to all the tour company that not only was his vocals off-key, but his guitar was out of tune, thus becoming the worst support artiste in Joe Longthorne's long and distinguished career. Number 2. Virtually all of the information he gathered was during alcohol and cannabis-fueled interviews with a nonsensical Joe, after the shows or at the house, and on show day. On such days, Joe arises around 2 or 3 p.m. His first movement is to the fridge, not for the milk, but for a chilled bottle of Beck's beer. Within half an hour, he will have a cannabis joint in his hand. Number 3. Chris Berry was warned often enough about the content and the source of his material and research. He had, however, his own agenda. For that same reason, he never verified any of his material with the numerous long-serving people who were around throughout that time. Number 4. Chris Berry's other ally in all the misinformation put forward was Joe's toady, another deluded Chris Bartholomew. This self-confessed cocaine addict, fraudster, liar and confidence trickster of the unaware. Ask Andy Mudd and his sidekick Vaughan Kennedy, two likely lads if there were ever two, so they believed. So naive and stupid were Mudd and Kennedy that Bartholomew easily took advantage of them both and cheated them out of thousands of pounds whilst issuing empty promises to them in regarding to placing a musical they had written with Pete Waterman. He led them a merry dance for weeks. Bartholomew was Joe's jailer, court jester and babysitter. He held Joe's hand through their drug-fueled drunken sessions whilst the rest of the Clampetts left the house and partied night and day every day. Joe hasn't had a life. His exploiters keep him in check by way of a continual supply of drugs and alcohol that keep him pacified. He is continually isolated from any decent people who might give him the courage to challenge the well-established and secure shackles that bind him. To them, he is just like a cash machine that when empty is to be pushed out onto the stage to be refilled for their own excessive and exclusive uses. Sorry, but we have to lower the tone again. We are determined to tell the story as it is, no holds barred. The circus in part. Meet some of the clowns, leeches, parasites and deadbeats. From left to right, Chris Bartholomew, John Boy Longthorne, Joe, Keith Holliday and Michael Holliday. Meet some of the parasites who feed off the ever-generous Joe. The four featured are all addicted gamblers and a mixture of jailbirds, wife-beaters, drug-taking alcoholics. We will give them our full attention in this series. Band member Andy Mudd coined a phrase for them when they were on tour, always inquiring when he arrived if the Clampetts had arrived. This is the smartest I've ever seen them. Joe apart, of course. The other four have never done a day's work in their entire lives and have no intentions of doing so. Joe's immediate family, his mum, dad, brother, John, and sisters Anne and Lizzie are all workers who have never received or expected financial help from their brother Joe. They are indeed proud Romany people, unlike these second-generation scum who have travelled the world, best hotels and the like, either on tour or accompanying Joe on luxury holidays. The main culprit is the bullying psychopathic criminal Keith Holliday. Teresa, Joe's late mum, despised him with very good reason. He has a terrible hold upon her son. Since Holliday's arrival in the late 80s, his influence has gradually increased and has been the ruination of Joe's career. Whenever Holliday enters a room, he sucks all the joy and laughter out of it within 5 seconds. It shouldn't be underestimated how much of a positive influence Terry Lodge has been upon Joe's career. Terry always fought Joe's corner against all unscrupulous and grasping opponents, and there were many. You only have got to see Joe's appreciation after the comeback Palladium show, into which Terry had invested thousands of pounds to produce. Terry had faith that Joe would have been well enough to perform, and Joe didn't disappoint. Joe virtually ignores all the fawning individuals in the wings to embrace his true friend. Just a couple of Joe's quotes. Upon receiving the top Royal Variety Club Award, he said, "I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Terry." And that was spontaneous. Terry wasn't present. Evidently, he made a similar statement upon receiving his MBE. One of Joe's more famous quotes, "Terry is a driven person. He also drives me on, sometimes when I don't want to be driven."